Hi guys, welcome now to Tech Tuesday, your weekly look at everything technological within golf. And because it is the off season, equipment companies are dropping photos like... Probably should have thought of a metaphor before I started this. Dropping pictures like... Dropping pictures like flies? Lots of pictures are coming out. And the first thing we're going to have a look at today are the TaylorMade M2 drivers, which appear like they're going to be coming out at the same time as the new M1. Now, luckily enough, next month I'm actually heading out to the States to try out these drivers. So if you have any questions, any in-depth information that you want answered off the engineers once I get out to the States, please comment in the box below. I had originally thought that the M2s would come out after the M1, so a similar strategy to what TaylorMade employed last time round. However, it appears that everything's going to be coming out at about the same time. Not only that, it looks like there's going to be two different types of M2 driver. So pictures which have been circulating around the internet show one of the new M2 drivers with a very clear carbon insert within to the sole. So this follows on from what's happening to the new M1 driver. There's more titanium being taken out of the head, more carbon, more multi-materials being inserted, so the club head is lighter and they can help maneuver weight around a little bit more. Both the M2s have something called a geoacoustic marking on them, which obviously has something to do with the sound. I imagine what TaylorMade are trying to show is that you can produce a multi-material driver without it sounding like a brick when you hit it. If you think back to the Callaway C4 driver, a lot of people won't remember that driver, but that was a full carbon-headed construction, and it sounded awful when you hit it. It sounded like you were slapping a salmon against a wall. It just was not a pleasant experience. But what TaylorMade did last time, and I think the reason why it was a good success, is yes, it flew well, yes, it was a great performing driver, but it sounded fantastic. And the only danger that they have is when they start replacing more titanium with more carbon, is that the sound will become more dead, more salmon against wall. And it is maybe a indication about where golf technology is up to at the moment, where companies have to make quite a big thing about how a driver sounds. Not so much in how much better it's going to perform, which I'm sure they say it will do, and it might do, I don't know, but luckily I'm going to have the chance to test it. But they're saying, you know, this is going to sound great. The difference between this and the D-type driver, it's not immediately apparent, although it does look like the D-type may not have as much carbon in the sole, and it may be geared towards possibly more of a draw bias if you look at the positioning of the weight on the head. But really, we will not know until we see the driver in the flesh. We won't know until we get to try it. But I'm interested. You know, I'm a fan of the M2 driver. It's one I use at this moment in time. So it's going to be interesting to see how they move it on and what they do differently with it compared to the new M1. Also, pictures have been dropped from TaylorMade on the new M2 irons. Now, the M2 irons from last year, they were good in the sense that they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They launched the ball very high and it went very far. The way TaylorMade did this, though, however, was they cranked the lofts down low and repositioned weight within the club head, so it launched very, very high, but it had very little spin. So if you're coming into an iron and you want more control over the spin characteristics with that shot, it was very hard to do because everything was just going to go up that way. And then when it landed, if it was a soft green, great, it would just bounce and stop. If it was a firm condition, however, it would bounce and then continue to roll because of the lack of spin being generated. In some other quick snippets, Bettinardi launching their new line for 2017. I really do like Bettinardi putters. I think they're a high quality construction and very underrated. It was only 10 years or so ago where Bettinardi were literally one of the benchmarks in putting. For whatever reason, their popularity declined, but their new stuff does look very, very good and very, very classic in many ways. The last thing I'm going to talk about is transfers, because it's the time of the year where players start switching from one manufacturer to another, when all the contracts start to come back round and when we start to see some interesting moves. One of the big moves which has been reported on Golf World and a few other websites is about Lydia Ko switching from Callaway over to PXG. Now, when you think of Lydia Ko, who's just one of the best players out there in the world at this moment in time, absolutely love her swing, love her technique, love her whole attitude around the game of golf. She is very synonymous with Callaway. She is one of Callaway's star players. And if they're going to lose her, that's going to be a very interesting move. When you think about the stars within the women's game, Lydia Ko is certainly someone who jumps out. And if PXG have swooped in and managed to bag her signature, I think that's a really good move on their behalf. Now, PXG have already swooped in and got a number of LPGA Tour players on their books, but at this moment in time, PXG don't have a massive market share either in men's clubs or in women's clubs. So it's going to be interesting to see what their strategy is to try and get more people on board. I have heard through the grapevine that the PXG prices, which are already very high, will be going up again next year. So they will not be coming down anytime soon. They're only going to be going in one direction, which is up. Now that is going to block out so many people from actually buying their clubs, as they are already very, very expensive. But as we've already discussed, I don't think that that's PXG's main concern. They're concerned with building very, very high quality clubs, putting them at a premium price, which only certain golfers can afford, and those certain golfers are the type of people who are going to want something different anyway, something more unique, something better than anything else out there. Even though performance-wise, generally speaking, although the PXG clubs are fantastic, they're no more fantastic than their competitors. They're a very, very good product, but they are positioning themselves at the top end of the market away from everyone else. And if that's going to work out for them, we will have to wait and see. But if they bag Lydia Ko, I think that's a very, very big signature and will certainly draw more attention to their brand. Another subject that a lot of people are excited about is what Tiger Woods and Rory will be putting in their bags for the rest of this season and into next season. I don't think we'll see a sudden swap, especially from McIlroy. I think he'll gradually replace his equipment. It depends obviously what manufacturers come in and offer him big money. At this moment in time, he's using the M2 driver. Seems to be hitting it okay. There doesn't seem to be massive problems with that, but I reckon he hits any driver very well. So I think with Rory, you'll see a gradual progression out of his nightclubs going throughout this year into next year, but it does all depend who comes in for him with the cash. So what clubs Tiger is going to be using when he does make his return, which is only a few weeks at the Hero World Challenge, no one really knows. But I think we can probably say he'll have the TaylorMade woods in the bag if that's what he's been practicing with. But we don't know what irons, we don't know what wedges. There's a few suggestions flying around from Mizuno back to Titleist. I think we can be pretty sure he'll stick a Scotty Cameron back in the bag. That's obviously what he's had most of his success with throughout his career. So that's my hunch on that. I think it's a very different situation for Rory and for Tiger. Of course, Rory's been playing consistently throughout this year with the same clubs. It's only now which he's made the shift to the M2 woods. So what Tiger's going to do, I imagine it's going to be more sudden, because at the end of the day, he's not played really this year, and I think he will want to get his new stuff in the bag as soon as possible. He's certainly had enough time to prepare. But as always, it's always fun to speculate. So please comment in the box below. What do you think Tiger's going to be using? And where do you think McIlroy is going to be going to from the end of this year into next year? Right guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on my other social media platforms, which are linked in the description below. Like the video, share it around, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for, I think it's another next part of my Smash It Long series, confirming to myself as well as you. Right guys, see you next time.